What's up, guys? Squirrely here. Today I'm going to give you guys an update on the Bleed Flay Lich build that I theory crafted and league started with the last Epoch new season. And we managed to kill Abberoth, and we're doing like 350 corruption pretty comfortably. I haven't really pushed corruption that much. I'm not sure where I'm capping out at yet, but we're pretty tanky. So probably can do, maybe 500-ish. But our DPS isn't so great. As you can see here against Abberoth, it takes a little while to kill him. It timed it at like 4 minutes for the whole fight, including the Harbingers there at the beginning, which is pretty slow. I mean, on my Warpath character, I was doing it in 2, so it was taking twice as long. Similar gear levels. Maybe there's some things that I have less than the other character I had. I'm not sure. But needless to say, the build isn't like super strong. I would say, I guess, it's not OP, basically. It's not bad. It's very tanky. I actually feel tankier than I did on the Warpath at this same time. So, damage over time is like completely healed at all times. Really nice because damage over time is super annoying. And one-shots do occasionally happen, but generally Lich form can at least save us from it, depending on how hard the hit was. But generally I'm able to stay in Lich form for most of my time. And now that I've got around 6k HP, I pretty much never die. While mapping, and Uber Abberoth, or not Uber Abberoth attempts, but regular Abberoth attempts, I'm not dying like ever. But it's just, again, DPS is a little bit low. I could get some more increased, fizz damage or damage over time. That's probably what I need to do, is try to get some more increases, because my base bleed damage is pretty low. While we're getting maybe, I'm not sure how many stacks we're hitting. It says 999 plus, right? I'm assuming maybe 1100, 1200 or something. I don't know, it's hard to say. So I think our bleed stacks are pretty good, but the base damage is a little bit low, so I'll try see if I can figure that out. I don't know how much more I'm going to play this character, because I'm not a huge fan of the dot play style. I wanted to try it. I've never really tried it before, so that's why, in part, I theory crafted a bleed character, because a couple of reasons. I mean, I thought it'd be one, easy to start, right? Because you can play bleed, and bleed is very strong in campaign right from the get-go. And you're playing a new Rip Blood, which is cool. Plus, you're playing the new Flay, which is cool. You don't want to play new stuff, right? Never played Lich before. So wanted to give it a try, and it worked out pretty well. Leveling was easy, and early monos was easy. Powered monos, easy at the start, but then I started hitting a bit of a wall at 200, I would say, where things started to kill me. And damage was still decent, but honestly not that good either. But I was also dying, right? So as soon as I got around 4 or 5k HP, then things started to stop killing me. And I also got some more armor and stuff, so I had to prioritize just upgrading my character a bit more, because I was being a little bit stubborn with MG and not actually buying upgrades, and just hoping to find stuff like I was playing COF, I was playing MG, which is also the first time playing MG, merchant skill, I should say. And, it is really powerful, actually. I was discounting it a bit at the start, because honestly, before you hit level 9 in MG, it feels really restricting. Like, you can't buy half the shit that makes you strong. But as soon as you hit level 9, you unlock everything you can buy with LP on it. You all of a sudden just spike your character's power like insane. So hit level 9, I was able to buy like 2 LP Exsanguinous, 1 LP Valders. I actually found the 2 LP Blood of the Exile, but I was able to buy the 1 LP Carry Out of Creation. It was like super cheap, and I am deciding to use it because it gives you a lot of bleed chance, right? And bleed chance is very, very good for us, of course. And then, of course, the conversion node. I don't know if it is bugged or not, but I mean, I assume it works. So it's pretty damn good, I'd say. And Eulogio Blood, I could buy 2 LP for cheap, right? Super nice. I ended up getting a tier 5 mana hybrid because I had like a axe with 4 affixes that had all good mods, and this is the one that ended up going on my second LP. And I'm actually pretty happy with that, because plus 60 mana gets us to that 300 mana breakpoint right now, at least with my current gear setup. And the mana regen lets me drop the mana regen from the belt and just have a tier 7 on the ring. Ideally, I also have tier 7 on this ring too. My mana actually does drain over a long period of time in a fight, but actually I'm not really finding it being an issue. Like again, Abberoth, pretty much, I never ran out of mana on Abberoth. So I think maybe tier 5 on one ring and then tier 7 on another ring, and making sure you have the mana regen implicit on your helmet. Those 3 things should be enough from my testing. I guess I do also have a little bit of mana regen on an idol here, so I don't know if that's helping or not. Maybe it is. Yeah, so far I'm actually not finding mana to be a big issue, which is good. And then I did find the 3 OP Trader's Tongue, which is pretty lucky. And it's got some pretty good mods on it, so I think this is really helping carry the damage, which again isn't very good anyways. But without this, I'd imagine it'd be a fair bit worse. So got kind of lucky there. Pearls of the Swine, I'm not finding again the mana issues being a problem, so definitely the cursing from Pearls of the Swine is super worth it. Possibly an Omnis, or I mean a Nihilus, like a better rolled Nihilus anyways than this, is going to be good or worth running, but I don't know, I'd have to test it. You know, Nihilus is pretty OP, right? It probably is. So, you know, you could drop this at that point. Helmet is, actually got this pretty early, is actually really nice. You know, it even has 3 Vitality Sealed, just more HP, you know, a bunch of flat HP, increased HP. Ideally, it was a tier 7 increased instead of the tier 7 flat, but it's still really good, and really good prefixes. Now, that is a tier 1 chance to bleed instead of a tier 5, so it's not amazing, but, you know, it's kind of hard to find a better one. Maybe I could buy one from the market at some point, but I don't know. I haven't really found any much luck on that. Rings aren't very good, honestly. This thing, it's not terrible. I mean, it's pretty good, actually. It's a pretty good ring. But the implicit is bad, so, you know. But tier 7 health, and Void Res is super useful, because otherwise we would not have max Void Res. Tier 5 mana regen, and then a bit of int is always good, too. This ring, it's not very good. You know, it's not terrible, but it's also not that good. I actually really want to use a Font of the Erased, at least for one of my ring slots, probably both, if I can get, you know, 2 good Fonts of the Erased. I think that would be ideal for the build. It's just a really, like, pain in the ass to get a good one, you know. I've probably gone through like 20 of these, maybe 30, and I just can't find a single one, just even with like tier 5 mana regen or something, you know. Anything like usable, I just can't get it. But it is quite nice because you get that mana spent as ward node on it, and we're spending a fair bit of mana, so it kind of helps with our ward generation to keep us ward capped. And then increased health and mana is very, very good. The final line doesn't really work that often, but, you know, it's not terrible or anything. You know, it's just the fact that it's a Weaver item, right? So you can get a tier 7, tier 5, you know, with enough Weaver's Will on it. And if you get lucky and you get some good mods on it, this is definitely going to be your best. But even just like a tier 7 mana regen on your Font of the Erase is going to be definitely super good. It's got a good implicit, right? It's a gold ring, so yeah, these are going to be our best for sure. If you can get a well-rolled one, definitely going to want to run that, but it's a pain in the ass to get a well-rolled one. So yeah. Brewmaster's Buckle. I don't have a 2 LP yet, but this thing is definitely super good. I've got a pretty good roll on it too. Pretty lucky. My idols aren't amazing. These are my 2 only good ones so far that I've found in terms of like class idols, but they also don't have the flat health on them, so that's a little annoying. But I do need the res anyways. And the other idols are just kind of, you know, propping up my res where I need them, right? So lightning res, physical res. Actually, I guess I don't need this much physical res from this thing, but either way, it doesn't hurt. And then frailty chance is going to be definitely worth trying to get some of it, because I was keeping up 1 or 2 stacks of frailty on Abberoth with just this single Stout Weaver idol, and it's a low roll as well. So definitely going to want at least one of these, in my opinion, for that less damage taken. And then everything else, yeah, just pretty much mix of health and Ellie res is pretty much what I was going for. And this is just for the fire res. The crit multi doesn't do anything for us. I might actually have a better idol in my stash. Probably should use it, but oh, whatever. And then for skills, I definitely did make some changes. And you can look at my character vault to take a better look at that. It'll be in the description. It shows my current character snapshot on last Epoch tools. But basically, because I got this node, I didn't want to get this +2 to Flay on as my second LP hit on my Exsanguinous. I had like a tier 7, I think it was like bleed duration or something, or bleed pen, and I had a tier 5 like flat health. Like I wanted one of those 2, but ended up getting Flay instead. But it's not horrible. You know, +2 to Flay means we can get another point into Scent of Death for some more kill threshold and a little bit longer Mark for Death, which kind of doesn't matter, but kill threshold is kind of nice. And then another point into Plasma Fountain here so that we are blood erupting every second attack, guaranteed. And a blood eruption just is another bleed stack, basically. Or another 5 bleed stacks, really, since we have like 5 or I think it's like 6. We have like 6 bleed stacks on any hit, pretty much. Maybe 5 on a spell hit. You know, so it doesn't hurt. It's just not that important, but you know, whatever. We had 3 points, right? And you can see I decided not to go this side. I don't know if it is worth going this side or not, but the thing is reducing our attack speed is actually not a good thing, because our attack speed is what procs our chaos bolts and all that stuff, and also just gives us, you know, more bleed stacks. And this is just kind of, it's not bad. It's just it only applies to Flay, and most of our bleed stacks are not really coming from Flay, so I just don't think it's really that worth it compared to getting Spectral Nightmare, which spawns a lot more Flay copies, which is applying a lot more bleeds. I don't know if the Flay copies are proccing other stuff. They might be, but I've just noticed that this node seems to apply more bleeds than going here, is what I found when I was testing on dummies. And then a couple points in here, just because being out of sight of Reperform really sucks, and this reduces the cooldown. So that's kind of nice, you know, if we are out of it by using Flay, we get the Reperform back. And then others haven't really changed much. You know, this hasn't really changed. This I forgot to change because I wanted to try this out, but I forgot to do that. Don't know if it works or not with the gloves, but the problem is it is very hard to test this stuff because we only see 999 of our bleed stacks. So I don't know if I'm getting more bleed stacks or not by putting points into this, right? When I'm testing like a dummy or something. So it's, you know, I guess I could test it by feel or by like timing an Abberoth kill or something, but I don't know. I forgot to do that, to be honest. But the fear chance is kind of nice for, you know, monoliths and stuff. You get to fear enemies and adds a bit of survivability to us. This hasn't really changed too much. Decided to stick with the bleed duration for more bleeds, but this honestly might be better, getting increased damage. I don't know. I'd have to test it because we are pretty low on damage, so this might be better just to put points into this, you know, this, etc. I don't know. And then this hasn't really changed either. I mean, it's changed from my planner, my initial planner, because I'm using these points because, you know, Aura Decay is insane. You really just can't pass up on these. And 2 mana drain is not that bad. Again, I'm sustaining mana just fine with what I have right now. And then making sure we get Fume Weaver, because as long as we get points into here, that negates this downside. And that's like negative 47 Fizz Res, which is pretty good, I would think, for bleed. I don't know. Hard to say if any of this stuff is even working sometimes, because, you know, game can be pretty buggy, to be honest. But I hope it works, and I hope it's actually giving us more damage. I don't know. It should. And then passive tree wise, you can see I haven't put any points into Veins of Power. I do want to. It's just, you know, it's kind of far away. But I can put points into this now, I guess. I ended up putting points into Crimson Gluttony because, again, our ward generation was just not very good, and this gives us more ward generation. So I think 5 points into here is worth it, you know, alongside 5 points to here, just to get some more ward generation. Because, you know, if we don't have much ward, then that means, like, if we're always at 0 ward, we're just having 3k HP instead of 3k ward, 3k HP. So try to have as much ward as we can at all times, and this helps a little bit. And that's why I also found through the erase, I think, will help. Other than that, though, making sure we get armor. You know, I was definitely neglecting armor in my initial POB, or planner, I should say. So we're getting some more armor from this point now. And then I even got some armor from here, armor and health. Not sure if these points are worth it, but whatever. Put some points into here just for more survivability. Could try taking them out and maybe getting some points to here for damage, because our damage is pretty lackluster right now, so might be worth it at that point. 3 points into here. At first I was neglecting these points because I don't know why, but I do think 3 points into here is a good idea, because damage over time is basically negligible if it's applying to our health, and it's really annoying if it's applying to our wards. So definitely going to want 3 points to here. This helps a lot, so don't neglect this like I was. And that's pretty much it for these points. I'm thinking of taking points out of here as well. 5 points out of here, maybe some points out of here, moving them over and trying to get them into here and here. But yeah, I haven't really been messing with it too much. I just wanted to kill Abberoth, at least get that done, because I think if a build can't kill Abberoth, then that build is basically useless. So at least this build can do that. That's good. I don't know how far it can push Corruption, or if it can ever do Uber Abberoth. I don't know if I can see the vision of the damage being enough, but maybe possibly with enough increases and better LP, maybe some other tech I'm missing. Potentially, for example, there's that relic that increases all of your idols by 50%. You can get some really good idols. Obviously, you can get HP idols, but you can also get like bleed chance idols and stuff. But even just HP, like you can stack HP up to the moon with that idol, I'd imagine. So maybe that's a way to go instead of the gloves, because these gloves probably aren't that good, realistically. I don't know though. Maybe you guys can cook something up eventually with that, but I think maybe what's better, if you guys are playing the build, is to eventually swap into Mana Stacker if you want to keep playing Flay. Because I'm pretty sure Mana Stacker is going to be the highest DPS potential if you want to kill Abberoth at least. So that's probably the way to go, is to, you can use this build kind of as a starter and to farm some gear, kill Abberoth, get, on Nihilus on farm, shit like that. And then eventually, get the gear to swap into Mana Stacker with the Executioner's Tiz and all that. There's a guides on max roll, of course. And I think Lizard is playing it as well. And probably, I'd say most people who are playing the Cold Flay version are going to be swapping into the Mana Stacker version. Because I'm pretty sure at the end game, that's going to be the highest cap. So probably the way to go. But this build is pretty good to get you there, I would say. So that's good at least. You can at least, get to the point where you can kill Abberoth. I don't know how important it is to have a 3 LP Trader's Tongue. Obviously, that's not going to be something everyone can get. But it's not super rare, right? Trader's Tongue is one of the easiest things to get LP on. And I'd imagine even just 1 or 2 is going to be enough. I mean, maybe 2. Should be. Sure, you might kill him slower, but the tankiness is there as long as you got some health increased on your slams. Get as much health as you can get, basically. Once you're at around 6k, we're pretty damn tanky, is how it felt so far. But yeah, thanks guys for playing along with the build. If you have been playing, hopefully you guys enjoyed it. And, sorry I'm not really going to be playing too much more, because I might re-roll and play a different build, or maybe I'll roll into the Mana Stacker version, or I don't know. I do want to get ready for PoE 2, because I do want to try to get a PoE 2 build figured out. Pretty excited for the patch. I don't think it's gonna be an amazing patch necessarily, like they haven't really fixed the end game or anything, but still, it's a fun ARPG, feels good to play. I love PoE 1, it's my favorite game of all time, so I do want to like PoE 2. So definitely gonna want to try it out. And so I'll be cooking on that a little bit, and we'll see about last Epoch. I don't know if I'll play much more. Wasn't a huge fan of this patch, I'll be honest. I know there's been a lot of negative reception. I don't really want to add to the negativity necessarily, because the game is good. It is a fun game. It is still last Epoch at its core. It's not like they made the game worse. They definitely didn't make the game worse. They made it better, if anything. For sure, they made it better. It's just they didn't make it that much better. If they made it better, they made it maybe like 20% better, or 10% even. Right? I mean, this stuff is cool. The primordial affixes and uniques. Like, I think that's really cool. I like it. I don't really like the mechanic though of building a monster and fighting it. I don't know, it's just not interesting. It really is. And it feels like Nemesis ×2, or they just have too many mechanics that are basically identical, right? Exiled, mages, Nemesis, and then now this. I don't know if maybe I'm missing something too, but it just feels like it's kill a boss that spawns in a map. I just wish they were a bit more creative with how they came up with league mechanics. I mean, again, look at Path of Exile. They really go all out with how creative they are with mechanics sometimes. Sometimes they're not creative at all, but usually they get pretty creative. And then last Epoch, it's been out for a long time. I think it's time that they take some risks and make some creative moves. I think they're kind of just stuck in this pattern where, they've made this thing, so they just copy and paste that thing again, which Diablo 4 is really bad for as well, by the way. So they're kind of doing what Diablo 4 does, and I don't like that. Hopefully, maybe with more craft on resources. Obviously, they did sell the company to craft on, essentially. We'll see if that's good or bad, but I'm hoping, we're going to be optimistic that with the craft on resources, they will have more creativity, or they'll be able to express more creativity, or maybe they'll just have devs that can help them express their creativity in the game. Because I think they're really just limited by maybe their knowledge of programming or something. I don't know. There's something limiting them, clearly, because I just don't understand why they make the same mechanic over and over again. It's kind of sus, and it's, yeah. So I believe in him. I mean, Tombs was pretty good, I guess. The Weaver tree was good. So, you know, 0. Or not 0. But 1.2 was a good patch. You know, it was a good patch. 1.3, maybe there was other things going on. You know, maybe they really were struggling for money and they couldn't afford to develop the game much until they sold the craft on. And that, by then it was near the end of the patch and they didn't really have much time to put in more money or time, or I don't know. Obviously, I'm speculating extremely heavily here. But yeah, bit of a weak season. It is what it is. Still, game is fun. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, looking forward to PoE 2 myself. And thanks guys for watching and following along. So peace.